5 men have appeared in court accused of waterboarding a man, branding him with a cattle iron and threatening to rape him. Jason Hennessy Jr, Devon Hennessy, Brandon Hennessy of Sheephill Avenue, and Kenneth Fitzsimons and Dean Fitzsimons of Castlecurragh Gale in Dublin 15 all appeared before a late-night sitting of Dublin's District Court, charged with assault causing harm and false imprisonment of Barry Moore at an address in Sheephill Avenue in Corduff, West Dublin, on the 12th of February. They are further accused of production of an article in the course of a dispute. The court heard that all of the accused made no reply when charged after caution. In objecting to bail, Detective Sergeant Mark Murphy of Blanchardstown Garda Station said that the background of the alleged incident is that at 6:30 p.m. on February the 12th, Barry Moore went to the address and was let in through a black steel rear door of the property by Jade Hennessy. Detective Sergeant Murphy said Barry Moore engaged in conversation with Jason, Devon and Brandon Hennessy before his phone was snatched off him and he was punched in the face by Jason Hennessy. The court heard that it is alleged that Jason Hennessy demanded that Mr. Moore tell the truth. It is alleged that Kenneth Fitzsimons retrieved a 5-foot steel bar, using it to strike Mr. Moore in the legs 7 to 8 times. Brandon Hennessy is alleged to have stated to the accused that he had given false information, and he's further alleged to have then taken the steel bar and beat Barry Moore all over his body. The court heard that it is alleged that Jason Hennessy then took possession of a branding device with the word rat on it and said, "He'll talk after this." He is then accused of igniting a camping stove and heating the customised cattle grinder. Dean Fitzsimons is alleged to have entered the property on a Sur-on bike and drove over Mr. Moore, stating, "I've been waiting for you." He is further alleged to have attacked him with a steel bar before picking up an axe and beating him with the back of it in an attack that lasted approximately 20 minutes, the court heard. He is also alleged to have threatened to cut off his ears with a Stanley knife. The brand was deemed not hot enough, and in the interim it is alleged that Dean Fitzsimons put a towel over Mr. Moore's face and poured water over it, in effect waterboarding him. The detective sergeant said Barry Moore described feeling as though he was drowning and that he thought he was going to be murdered. Dean Fitzsimons is alleged to have stood over Barry Moore and told him to tell the truth or he would leave in a body bag. Jason Hennessy is alleged to have branded Barry Moore in the stomach approximately 6 times. Barry Moore told Gardaí that he had never felt pain like it, the court heard. Jason Hennessy is alleged to have asked Mr. Moore, "Who set me up at Costa Coffee?" and he responded by saying he did not know. Jason is further alleged to have branded Mr. Moore on the side of the face, during which time the victim was screaming in pain and pleading to be let go. Brandon Hennessy is further accused of stating that they should pull Mr. Moore's tracksuit bottoms down and, quote, rape him with a stick. However, this threat did not come to pass, the court heard. Devon Hennessy allegedly stated that if he branded Mr. Moore, can they let him go? He is alleged to have then branded him on the right side of his head. Brandon Hennessy is accused of telling Mr. Moore, "I'll go to your kids and I'll let them watch," while Dean Fitzsimons is alleged to have told him, "I know where your kids live, Brandon." Jason Hennessy, meanwhile, is accused of telling Mr. Moore that he would burn his house down. After this, Mr. Moore was let go and was given back his phone after all of the messages on it were deleted, the court heard. He then drove into a nearby home and the emergency services were contacted. He subsequently provided a statement to Gardaí on the 13th of February. In objecting to bail, the detective sergeant said that the assault charges carry on indictment a sentence of up to life in prison, as does the false imprisonment charges. He said the alleged attack is on the higher end of the scale and that Mr. Moore is currently in hospital with burns to 3 to 4% of his body. It will take many months to establish what the long-term effects are to Mr. Moore, he told the court. He cited the nature and strength of the evidence and said Mr. Moore knew the Hennessy family his whole life and the Fitzsimons for 10 years. He said that Gardaí carried out 6 searches under Section 10 of the Criminal Justice Act and that Mr. Moore provided in his statement descriptions of a blue gas camping stove which was found at the Sheephill address in Sheephill Avenue. Gardaí also found a wet towel as described by Mr. Moore, who claimed he was waterboarded, and dog leashes which he said were used to tie him up. Mr. Moore's injuries were photographed and while a branding iron has not been found, his injuries were as described. The detective sergeant said he also believes that the attack on Mr. Moore was planned and not spontaneous. He added that it sends a message to the community that this will not be tolerated, in arguing that the men should be jailed. The presiding judge refused bail and remanded all 5 into custody. They are due to appear next before a sitting of Dublin's Cloverhill District Court.